Hello, my name is Jimmy and welcome to the 2021 Mercedes-Benz A35 AMG. Let's see how many G's it can pull with a quick acceleration test. Race start. That's pretty quick. That's pretty quick. This car is actually a whole lot of fun and it makes quite a good sound. Ooh, a little bit of backfire. That's not bad at all. This is actually a pretty fun car. 0 to 60 comes in at 4.5 seconds. And if you think that's slow, well, I mean, then you've just been around supercars too much. In terms of speed, it's absolutely great. 302 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque from a 4-cylinder turbo. This is a sufficient amount of power for this chassis. Don't really need more, but if you do, well, that's why Mercedes has a CLA 45 AMG. But with this at just over 300 horsepower, it's enough to make you smile, but not enough to get you in a whole heap loads of trouble. It draws that fine line of being fun without trying to kill you. And that's a good line to sit on. For those who want a vehicle that feels like it's gonna kill you every single time you press that throttle, well, Mercedes has plenty of other AMG products that can certainly deliver. Let's get back to this though, this A35 AMG. If you're looking on the Mercedes website and you can't find it, well, that's probably because you live in the US, because this is a Canadian special. It's also in other parts of the world, but just not in the US for whatever reason. That's right. This, like the C43 AMG wagon, is something that we get here in Canada and you don't in the US. Someone at the top of Mercedes Canada loves the underdogs. In any case though, the A35 hatch is very similar to the sedan that you do get. It's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit lighter, but overall pretty similar. On the front end, we got your typical A-Class front end with LED headlights, AMG styled front bumper. On the side, some 18-inch alloys, and behind that, beefy AMG calipers. On the back is probably my favorite part of the vehicle, these wraparound LED taillights. Some may say it looks like a Kia Forte, but that's okay. I still love them no matter what. Finishing off that rear end perfectly, we do have some AMG bits and pieces, like this little spoiler up top, and on the bottom, a diffuser with 2 large exhaust tips. And these are just the tips. As we look through them, we can actually see the exhaust behind them. Overall, the A35 looks amazing, and that's what Europeans love, a small, fast, hot hatch. Unlike here in North America, we tend to dive towards SUVs, thus why Mercedes also makes the GLA 35 and the GLB 35. Opening the manually operated hatch, it reveals 13 cubic feet of space, which is a decent size. You can fold down the rear seats 40, 20, 40 as well to store whatever else you want. The rear seats themselves have the same issue that a lot of other vehicles on this platform shares, which, of someone of my height at 5'11", the bottom cushion just feels a little too low. But there is plenty of headroom and legroom overall, so I'm happy about that. For those of you with kids, there are 2 sets of lower anchors and 3 upper anchors to attach your child seats. If you're interested, you can click up here to see exactly how a Kleck Ling and a Kleck Fünf will fit inside this little hatch. In terms of the front seats, well, they're actually decently supportive, but I wish they're just a little bit more bucketed. The bottom cushion just feels a little flat for me, but there is a decent amount of bolstering on the top. Some may complain about the headrest as it's not adjustable, but for me, it's perfectly fine. As for what's right in front, we do have a sporty, flat bottom steering wheel with plenty of red stitching, and behind that, a pair of 10.25-inch screens for your cluster as well as your infotainment. Since this is an AMG product, yes, it's an actual AMG product, but no, there's no V8 and the engine doesn't have a plaque on it. But it is an AMG. Anyways, since this is an AMG product, we do get the sportier gauge cluster here, and it shows a tach in the center and a cool display overall. I like this over like the traditional options that you may get, but since this is a Mercedes, there's plenty of options for you to choose from. And the same goes for the infotainment. It's a full touchscreen, but you can also use the trackpad, the console, and a thumb pad on the steering wheel, or even by voice to control it. Personally, I just like to use the touchscreen. It's the easiest way to interact with the display itself. There's Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, but we do have to plug that in to the USB-C port on the console to get that activated. Overall, the interior is absolutely fine. You got really good materials on the top. I mean, everything is soft and squishy, but lower down, yeah, you definitely get that scratchier plastics. But that's okay. You're stepping into an A class, not an S class, so you don't get the grade S materials, I guess. But it's still a very nice place to be, and for most, when you sit in here, you're just dazzled by the ambient lighting in here and the beautiful displays that you got. So really, it's not a problem. But let's get back on the road, because that's what this car is about, how it drives and how it handles. So let's put it back into Sport Plus and head back out there. Love that exhaust note. It's quite unnerving for a little car to sound that good. I mean, no, it's not a inline 6 or V8, but it's just a little 4-cylinder, but it can still produce quite a good sound. And that overrun just sounds so good. It is a very, very good engine. Peak power is, yes, on the top, but torque is available basically anywhere. You put your foot down, it goes. And it's quite quick for what it is. For some, you may find the hatch just a little too aggressive in terms of its suspension tuning. I mean, I don't have the most smooth roads right now, and you can see everything's kind of just bumping around. It's it's not the most comfortable place to be, and it doesn't have adaptive suspension for me to adjust if it's going to be a little bit softer or a little bit harder riding. And that's definitely something I miss compared to like the base A class. But I mean, when you're picking on an AMG product, you kind of expect it to be a little bit rougher. I just didn't expect a 35 to be this rough itself. Mercedes has definitely done some tuning magic here, because the way that it drives, well, it's actually quite engaging. Do have the ESC on sport mode, because if you have it on normal, well, it cuts power pretty quick. It just wants to keep you nice and safe. But in sport or fully off, and it definitely lets you play around a little bit more with the chassis. The power does get sent to the rear. It's a little understeery at first, because yeah, that's what you expect, but you push on a little bit more power and the back end does help rotate. What I do like is the engine and throttle response. I'm on full comfort here, but when I press the throttle, it's so immediate. It doesn't take much to just downshift and go. Unlike a lot of vehicles these days, well, that takes forever because it's more economically minded. But this, Mercedes, well, I guess didn't care. All right, let me pull over here and summarize everything up. The Mercedes-Benz A35 AMG. It's a little pocket rocket. It actually is, and it's a whole heap load of fun. Quite enjoy my experience with it. Like I said at the beginning, it's quick enough to put a smile on your face, but not too fast where you fear for your life or losing your driver license. I mean, you still can, but, well, less. 302 horsepower is absolutely sufficient, and the 7-speed dual clutch that's here, it is matched perfectly to give plenty of fun to the overall vehicle. But like I said, it just doesn't do normal well. Even on the softest settings, the suspension is, well, too stiff for my liking. The base A-Class is probably a little bit easier to live with. As tested, this A35 comes to 55,000 Canadian. A base model is 50,000 Canadian, which is just $10,000 more than the base A250. And if you want to stack on every single option, well, that easily goes over $70,000. Is it worth it? At $70K, probably not. But at 55, well, yeah. It kind of depends though. It depends on how you drive this car. If you live in bumper-to-bumper traffic and rougher roads, then I would say not. But if you have open roads, smooth roads, yeah, definitely look into it. The biggest competitor to this will probably be the Volkswagen Golf R. The power figures are quite similar, and in the case for the 2022, it's actually a little bit more power for a little less cash. So the Golf R definitely seems like a bargain. But truly, for those who are looking at a Mercedes, they don't generally cross-shop with Volkswagen. They may cross-shop with Audi or BMW, but they just don't make hot hatches like this, or at least here in Canada. However, for Mercedes, their biggest competitors are themselves. I guess that's not really a competitor then, is it? Because the GLA 35 is just a little bit more money, and you get a higher riding vehicle with similar interior dimensions, and both the same performance. If you want something a little bit more boxy to carry a little bit more, well, the GLB 35 is right there for you as well. Let's face it, for most buyers, the GLA or the GLB is the one that you're going to buy over the A-Class. And that's just kind of sad because, like wagons, hatches and sedans are disappearing. And that's the ultimate truth. No one really buys hatches and sedans anymore. Everyone just floods towards an SUV. But this, the A35, is better than the GLA 35 and the GLB 35. It's lower center of gravity. It's lighter. It's more engaging. So please buy this. If you are looking for one, buy this over the GLA or the GLB and help hatches live on. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do. Subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll catch you next time. And for now, I'm going to enjoy this car a little bit more because, well, it deserves it. Take care, everyone.